into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
A little New Jersey, their own, Bruce Springsteen playing. Welcome, Real Housewives of New Jersey fans, and welcome to the Real Housewives of New Jersey Part 2 Reunion, Season 6, Episode 17. We're at the second part of this very long, drawn-out reunion. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel this is going on and on and on. I feel like we could have trimmed the fat quite a bit. I'm your host tonight, Grant Rutter, and joining me tonight...
Hi, everybody. It is Megan Stecher.
And it's Fern Ronay.
The three of us are back, and we're wrapping out this season, and we have our opinions and thoughts on everything that's been unleashed at these reunions, to say the least. So let's get immediately into it. Teresa feels as though that certain people that came on the show put her where she is now. They
it's nobody
destroyed
else's
her.
fault.
I don't get it. Am I the only one who didn't get it?
Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about.
Yeah, and then they cut to a bunch of flashbacks with like Danielle, and like, I mean, you're not gonna blame crazy Danielle Staub on you going to prison for a few months, you know.
But they did a flashback to flat-chested Teresa bragging about her husband who makes all this money, and she gets suspended, and it reminded me of how much I hated her the first season. I hated her the first season. I was like, how do these two numbnuts? They don't seem very smart. How are they so successful? Now it all makes sense. And over the years, I started to like her more because she just got so beat down. Her husband's calling her the C word. She's like, you know, fighting with her brother or sister-in-law. So over the years, I think I just felt for her more. But I hated her in season 1, and that flashback reminded me, and now it's all come full circle.
I love your initial reaction.
Now.
Well, I thought it was funny that she was trying to blame just not liking people or people who came on the show just to start rumors and try to get some FaceTime to have anything to do with anything else going on with her. You know,
that made no sense.
They were purposely brought on the show to be a bit of a troublemaker. They were just a little guest star for an episode or two. And the fact that she would say, everybody, by all you new girls, just know that people come on this show to hurt you. It's like, you know what? You really weren't tangled up with the Kims. Everybody else was.
Yeah,
and you know what? You really weren't tangled up with Danielle either. Everybody else was.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what she was getting at.
Even with the damage Kim D would love to claim that she inflicted on these women, she was always tight with Teresa. She never did cross her. So who are these people? I mean, I've watched all 6 seasons now, and so who are the people besides Danielle?
Well, maybe she was actually referencing Kathy and, you know, anybody whoever you know, my brother and Melissa and Kathy, you know, have wronged me by even coming on the show. I don't get it.
Yeah,
but.
and Melissa still sits in silence, which I kind of applaud her for till this day.
Yeah, they all did. And then Dina even pointed out later, like, it's good that Teresa's speaking her mind because she's the only one who's doing it, because she pointed out that everyone was kind of zipped.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, everyone has to be because Queen Teresa would then start, you know.
Walk off.
Right. So something I want to know from the both of you and from our commenters and listeners over on YouTube and iTunes, I want to know, with all the flashbacks that we saw, with all this madness with Teresa over the years from season 1 onwards, are we going to miss Teresa on the show?
I don't know. I think they can do without her.
I'm going to say no. Yeah, I think Teresa's run her full course. She went from kind of the airhead, and the Manzos were running things as the main characters in the beginning. And then people were kind of leaving the show one by one, and Teresa really took over as Queen Bee and became this evil figurehead when she was making Melissa's life miserable. And now she's the downfallen criminal. And I think there's really no storyline left for poor Teresa unless she wants to come back as a former con.
I think she might do like the first, I think it's one of our commenters who's excellent. I forget his name now, but he pointed out that Andy's trying to film her before she goes away. So her last Thanksgiving, her last Christmas, and then her probably crying as she's leaving her kids and driving off in the wagon. So
I know she needs the money.
And yeah, she definitely needs the money. So that might be part of the next season.
That's a private moment. It's so private, especially before you get thrown away.
Oh my God. How emotional she's going to be.
Yeah. It's like, just like, take a loss on the money you'd make.
Yeah.
You're about to go away. You're going to miss moments of your child's life. Just take a minute and don't have to worry about having to waste 5 minutes to sit down and talk about how fun your Christmas was, in an interview, or having to, worry about getting mic'd up. Like, just live a normal life as long as you can.
Right.
That's my advice.
It'll be interesting to see if she does it. If she does it for the money, or if she's really learned that, you know what, I have 4 healthy kids. That's all that matters. I don't have a disease. I'm not dying. I'm going away for a year. I'll come back. If she's really learned, like, health is wealth, that's all that matters. It'll be interesting to see if she does it, if she's really learned anything.
I feel like she won't, because there are so many down low things that have gone on with her that she has not put on camera. So I think that will be the one sacred. Well, we don't really know what happened with all this legal stuff. She gets on camera and plays dumb, and we know she's playing dumb.
Yeah.
She's a very bad actress. So there's a whole bunch of down low stuff going on, especially like the day that they were convicted, when they got their sentencing, and they went home and it was private with family. Like, even Joe and Melissa weren't there. So I don't think it's going to be on camera.
Yeah, that's another reason it might not be, because she has too much pride for people to see her that down low. That's a good point.
Well, Joe admitted that he never went over the financial statement with lawyers, which I just don't know how you can be put up and make a plea deal and never have looked over your financial records at all. They also claim that all of Teresa's businesses that have been shoved down our throats for all 6 seasons are worthless and worth nothing. And they gave no examples at all, except that Fabellini was worth nothing as well. Now, you made a purchase recently.
Yes,
Fern.
I purchased 2 bottles of Fabellini, which I'll be bringing for our finale next week.
Were they free? Because they were
They were
nothing.
not. So I must have just paid to their costs of their manufacturing costs, because apparently it's not going to their profit.
Oh, yeah. So they didn't hand them to you. Teresa wasn't there to hand them as a gift.
No.
Okay.
They're not signed.
No.
Yeah.
All right, weird. Melania, we learned that she loves the cameras. That's her excuse for being a brat and having very bad behavior, because she likes the crew. I mean,
Well,
she likes some
sorry,
of the crew.
I'm just cutting through it. Because it's some nonsense. Please, the girl definitely has no control over her actions. There's no discipline in that house. Period. The end.
Exactly. She said she likes some of the crew. Some of them she gives a hard time. When I was that age, if I gave any adult a hard time, I would get, like, she's Italian. She's supposed to be spanking her kids on the coolie with a wooden spoon. None of this, she likes some of the crew. She doesn't like some of them. You show all of them respect.
Right.
Well, not in that house. Apparently.
Well, I thought it was funny that Melissa piped up and said, "Oh God, she tortures the crew," and it's just, "Oh no, she likes some of them. She hates some of them. They've been there all the time."
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
And then, hearing about Adriana's birth, and then, like, just more flashbacks. I just kind of had enough. I just kind of felt like, okay.
They were really reaching. And there was
don't
plenty
need
of
this.
scuffle going on later that they kind of cut out. There was multiple conversations going on, and they would show one side of the conversations, like the little side conversations, and not the actual argument that's happening out front.
True.
And it's like, well, why did you cut all that out? I would have loved to have known what was actually going on. We just keep talking about Teresa. It's a dead horse that we're beating.
Exactly. That's true.
Andy Cohen, this is all your fault.
So the Joes came out, Joe Gorga and Joe Giudice, and they sat next to one another. And Andy asked a very interesting question. He said, Joe Gorga, do you blame the other Joe for, what's going on with your sister? Do you blame her? And, he beat around the bush and then said, no, it happened. I don't really blame him. Now, I obviously think that it's all Joe Giudice. Of course, Teresa signed papers, and she's, the judge deems her, worthy
The
of
first
jail
mate.
time.
She was the first mate,
Yeah.
yes.
But I mean, how can you sit there and not say, it'd only be natural to say, I do in certain ways. What do you think?
I think he was trying to be diplomatic, you
Yeah.
know, and I think he was trying to just have a heart that they'd been through so much that he didn't need to say, yeah, I blame Joe Giudice. And then Joe Giudice said he blames himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of did. Joe Gorga paused for like 20 minutes.
It was that awkward. It was so long that they were able to go to commercial and come back. But I noticed Teresa, whenever they were talking about their legal problems so much at a certain length, she would get very uncomfortable and hunch her shoulders and look down and be breathing very deeply. So that was going on when they asked Joe Gorga. I noticed, do you blame Joe? So I think she got very nervous, like, oh, please don't say yes. I don't want to be mad at you. I don't want Joe to hit you. Kind of a thing, and I don't want to and her walk off again. Like, family doesn't act like that. I think he knew what he had to say, and he was looking for a very diplomatic way to say it. He wanted to say yes, but he also wanted to say no.
It's a good
to please her.
observation.
I believe you're right, but it's just like, how can you not say yes?
Right. Well, his exact answer was a very nice tiptoeing the line. I wrote it down. He said, I don't know. Do I blame him? It happened. I'm not blaming anyone. It happened. So it's like he's saying, yeah, of course it was his fault, but I'm not going to say that out loud. And we're going to move on.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts on the Teresa segment of the show, the first half, pretty much?
I thought it was awkward when Andy asked Joe Giudice, does deportation scare you? He said, no, right away. No. And Teresa immediately cuts in and says, of course. Oh, no, we can't talk about this. And he's trying to talk over him to shut him down. And then he starts over his line of thinking and said, of course, it's not something we can talk about right now. So there's all this, even though they claim they're done with their lawyers and everything's done and their lawyers were terrible, there's something still going on with the deportation issue that they're being told not to talk about. Right. So they maybe still have the same legal
They
thing?
haven't decided, right? Doesn't the deportation issue get decided later? So they're probably like, let's look as scared as possible or like as humble as possible.
Yeah.
Nothing that's going to get us in trouble after a whole seasons of that already got us in trouble.
Well, the crazy part about the deportation is she has to serve her sentence. He has to serve his sentence. And then they decide the deportation, which is... Oh my gosh, what is that, 5 years if you add up all their time from now? That's crazy.
Yeah, all that probation time. Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't mind if he gets deported, and I don't blame him. Italy's a beautiful country.
It is, and he'll be enjoying himself, drinking 20 girlfriends. He won't care.
So glad to get out of this country after all this, especially after being under the government's thumb for all that time. Yeah, who knows?
I bet Teresa and the girls stay here. And he gets away from them and just enjoys himself.
Wow.
That's my future
Teresa
prediction.
should have gotten rid of him a long time ago if she didn't want to go visit Camp Cupcake or wherever the hell she's going. Who knows? So now let's cut over to these twins. The twins go out of their way to laugh at Amber, and Teresa seems still super upset about this whole Victoria situation. And so she says that she went to figure out, she wants to know why Teresa doesn't feel bad, pretty much, right? I'm a little crossed.
Well, you go ahead, Fern. Go ahead.
This is the point where Teresa kind of says, I do feel bad for you. It's a tragedy. But, well, she said something that I found quite offensive. She said, we're Italian. We all know people who have been to prison. Excuse me, I'm 100% Italian, born and raised in Belleville, New Jersey. I don't know anyone who's been to prison. Thank you very much. And then she kind of just said that she still blames Victoria Gotti. She still blames Teresa for getting Victoria Gotti on the show, and that hurt her family and her parents. So she feels bad for Teresa, but she doesn't feel bad because it affected her own family and that she deserves what's coming to her. Clink, clink. Enough with the clink, clink. Like, your dad went to prison. We still haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, no one did that in her face.
Well, here she said, we've had family members in jail. I wrote that down. Okay. And I thought, Fern kept bringing that up. Yeah. Fern knew about this, but they didn't bring it up on the show. But go ahead, because I don't know about this. You know about
Their dad... Mr. Napolitano. In the meantime, I loved Sal and Sam Napolitano. But it's true. He went to jail he had a construction company, and he had his construction workers take down asbestos without the proper equipment. He was supposed to go to jail for a really long time. He went for, I don't know, like a year or two. And they never mentioned that on the show, but she did kind of allude to it, kind of saying, we're Italian. Everybody who's Italian knows someone who goes to jail, prison, whatever. No, you don't. But she is kind of alluding to it because her dad did. So, So she should, instead of saying clink, clink and all of this, I said this on a past show, she should be empathetic and say, you know, my family went through this and my heart breaks for you. And
Well,
get over the whole rumor thing about your mom. She should be thankful it gave her a storyline.
Well, she said, I'm not going to let it go. That was my mother.
The thing is,
And I was praying for you.
the thing is, and I'm actually going to make a move and defend Teresa for once, because these are two women who have never been on television, don't know the power of the reality TV world and the blogosphere and Twitter. And these are two chicks who are plucked from the state of New Jersey, and then all of a sudden on a national scale, there's a rumor about their mother. So I can understand in a way why they would be so affected by that, because they've never experienced anything like this. It's not like a rumor with what's her name? Leanne Rimes. I mean, there's a million things said about her and her past and over the years. So it's like, for those two, they're not used to having this out there and have people talking about it and have someone come on Watch That, like Amber, make comments about it. Like, it's just such a big scale that I kind of almost feel like, not that they're justified to be so angry and hateful, but I mean, I can see why they blew it up, because in their world it is a big thing. They've never experienced anything on that level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're probably, I could picture them reading every tweet that they get, and they probably get tons of them. And then, there's so many idiots on Twitter who probably saying disgusting things about their mother. So probably, maybe it is affecting them.
Right.
Well, I'm going to go to the other end of the spectrum with her, because you're defending her. Remember how we were saying the good and evil twin, and we finally got to see the other side of Teresa toward the end of the season, and she was a really nasty person. She was being so nasty at this reunion.
Oh, she's the nasty one. I like Nicole.
Sister.
Oh, yeah.
Nicole was just plainly answering a question that Andy asked her, and she had to start picking and talking in her ear. And
she said, you're a lawyer or something.
Yeah,
that.
you're not a lawyer. Don't speak one thing. What? This is your own twin sister. And she's not saying anything wrong. Let the poor girl speak.
Right.
I don't know.
She's the nasty one.
I don't feel bad for her.
Andy opened up the door and gave us a little bit of an update on the twins. There was really nothing said about Teresa. In general, did you have anything, any updates on her life?
Well, I just thought it was weird that she had to bring up that she was flying in a Concorde at 19, 20 years old because Reno was so successful. And I thought, well, where did that come from?
I think she was trying to explain why they got back together and why the relationship works now. And she said, we're more grateful. So when we were 19 and 20, we were flying on the Concorde, and now we're older and we appreciate things. So that makes their marriage better.
Well, if he's a self-made man, which she's trying to be a stickler for, saying, well, you're a self-made man, then is he much older? Is he 10 years older or something? That he was an established businessman and had enough money to have a Concorde?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's Jay-Z level stuff. That's not Reno from New Jersey.
Right, that's no joke.
Well, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, though. I mean,
Reno was?
Reno? I think he was born
Didn't he inherit that
not
restaurant?
much, and he.
He was saying that he's a self-made man.
Yeah,
that he's not a silver
that he built the
spooner.
restaurant up
when there was the whole silver spoon fight.
Yeah, but I think he got that restaurant through his family. I mean, they're all on the wall in there. They're all painted on the wall.
True.
I mean, so I don't know if he
maybe he's in between nothing and a silver spoon.
Oh, who knows? Who knows?
But we can't decipher the truth anymore, people. Many lies.
I know. Like I said, there's no update with Teresa's life. But Nicole, she's still with Bobby, and they claim that as of this coming spring, they will have been together for 2 years. And, she's hoping to be engaged in a year. And, yeah.
And she's still living with her parents.
Yeah.
Even though
They haven't bought that house.
She was faux house hunting with Bobby.
I think everyone should give them a break about getting engaged. They've both been married. They both have kids.
Oh, why?
If they're happy,
why?
they're in their 40s. If they're happy together, who cares if they're getting married or not? Just enjoy yourself.
Nobody cares.
Everybody's in their business about that.
Yeah. And then...
it's a very traditional... It must be a very traditional Italian family thing.
Yeah, maybe.
You're Italian. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we had no pressure to get married. Well, I'm not that Italian. My grandparents were all born here, so we didn't have that, get married at 20 and have 10 babies, because that never happened. It's not happening at the Fern Ronay house.
They wouldn't say if Bobby was born into huge money, if he was a trust fund baby and all that. Basically, Nicole stood up for him, and she didn't really say anything. And then Teresa was like, "Yeah, what's bad about it? Yeah, he's good. He's set." So those two didn't help each other out at all. Bobby didn't say 2 words. Apparently, he's bought into this car dynasty. So or are you familiar with that?
Yeah, because my dad's a used car dealer in New Jersey, and Chizzuli is huge. Like, he does have a lot of money.
How do you pronounce it?
Chizzuli.
Okay.
Because Melissa said Kazuli, and I'm like, you see their commercials. You're from New Jersey. How are you pronouncing it wrong? But yes, Chizzuli. Yeah. So he does have a lot of money. But Melissa also made a great point. Who cares? Like, God bless him. That's wonderful. And why hold it against him?
Yeah, I think Melissa made a really good point with that. She's like, yeah, well, you don't look at, you look at us because we're young and attractive, but you don't look at the men like they have more to offer too, and it just works. Like, it's not everyone at that couch is a gold digger.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why do you think Andy asked Amber her opinion of, is Nicole a gold digger with Bobby?
I don't know. You think he was getting it?
Because he was confused.
It was so out of left field.
He was confused because he thought Amber called Nicole a gold digger, but really she was just putting that label on Melissa.
Right.
Oh, that's right. So he was asking the wrong person, and yet Amber still was able to say a rude thing about Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
man.
still managed to give Nicole a dig. Like, she never dates anyone with no money.
Right. But she has a pattern of dating men with money.
Right.
Oh, well.
Well, I mean, if I were Nicole, I'd say, hey, I'm a woman of a certain age. I have 2 kids. I'm not stupid. Yeah, no, I do enjoy, dating men that have money.
Right.
I do. Like, I look for the more successful guy. I would
Right.
say that if I were her, but, whatever.
And I think Bobby, he's got the best of both worlds. He comes from, he's a very successful family. He's never going to be, eating out of a garbage can. But instead of, acting like Paris Hilton, he's a firefighter. That's hard. And that's pretty admirable that that's what he's choosing to do with his time. So I think that's great.
Yeah. I don't know about that mural in his house. But
Wait, what was the mural?
the mural of a firehouse, like in his dining room as soon as you walk in the door. I mean, for a volunteer fireman, all right, whatever. Oh, man. So Amber clarifies with Melissa that she is indeed not a gold digger after all.
But is a homewrecker.
Well, no, that's Nicole. Nicole's the whole record.
Sorry.
Yeah, and so they went back to that, and then, of course, Melissa felt like she was put in the middle by giving information that she really didn't repeat, nor did she really believe. I mean, was that it?
Was the
And that's what
homewrecker rumor, yeah.
And that's what I said. That's pulling a Dina, being like, well, I was just given this information, and I was put in a terrible spot.
Yeah.
Since when did this become the Real Housewife fallback on gossiping? It's a pretty good one.
Right.
But it's a really good one because then they can say, you know what, they said it on camera. When they eventually watch it, they're going to know I heard it and didn't tell them that this rumor was going around about them. So it puts me in a hard position. So it's a good way to create storylines of
You're
rumors.
so right, Fern, when you say it that way. Now I get it.
Now it's all clear.
Now I get it.
Well, Dina was pretty quiet in this episode until Jim made his appearance. Jim showed up with his pocket full of evidence, and he explained that he had made $8.5 million, that he is last year.
He yelled at Reno. Oh, Reno, did you make $8.5 million this year? I can't.
Yeah. And he also clarified that he is indeed not a lawyer, like we were all led to believe. He could be a lawyer should he pass the bar, which, yes, he went to law school, but he didn't take the test in time. Something like that. Like, it's weird.
He just took the bar in 2013, and now he's under review with the ethics committee. Is that what it was called? The ethics
To
committee?
get into, right, to be admitted.
But I mean, hey.
Well,
if
after all this jazz on Twitter, I don't know the ethics committee will think he's very ethical.
Oh, yeah.
His character may be in question.
That's
A little
what I'm
bit.
saying.
A little bit. Yeah,
That's what I'm
man.
saying. He and Dina have had some real tough exchanges
man.
on Twitter. Woo.
Yeah. Well. So Jim, I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to do about him. And neither just Andy. Andy, I feel like saying like it's impossible. Just when it comes to him, like you can't have a conversation.
Well,
about anything.
it was like Andy would try to ask him one question, and it would go off on this tangent, almost like a lawyer in the courtroom of like, well, here's what I'm going to explain it, and I'm going to talk so fast that you're not going to know what's truth from fiction, and blah 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 blah, and then he ends up like throwing out an insult at somebody else at the end of it. And it's like, that's not an answer to the question I asked.
Yeah.
And you're using this as your vehicle to call out Bobby. And it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I
And he
know.
says, like, what I hate about him is he said, if you're kind to me, I'll be kind to you. If you're cruel to me, I'll burn you to the ground. Like, he's just so nasty. Mm-hmm. And he's so, unlikable. Like, he has not learned the recipe for being a likable person. He's not funny. He's not interesting. He's not engaging. He's not kind to other people. He does all the things wrong. Brags about his money. Acts like he's smarter than everyone else. He's so unlikable.
You know what I like about him, though?
Tell me.
Grant loves him some Jim.
No, I really don't. But I think he amuses himself. I think he gets very into it. He couldn't get enough of those pictures that he put as printouts.
He was very proud of himself.
I mean, like, he was just cracking himself up over it. And I was like, at least someone's having fun at the reunion. I mean, at least somebody is. I mean, they had to pass on the pictures. Now, does it make Bobby a fame whore that he went and visited all of these former housewives at the book signings and has pictures with all of them?
Kind of.
I'm going to say it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear his side of the story.
If I were defending Bobby at the reunion, I would say, yeah, he's a fame whore. He loved the Real Housewives. He was dying to get on the show. He used Nicole to get on the show. But then he fell in love with her. So now he's in love with her.
They met through the Housewives.
Yes. And like, it's like a romantic comedy and love wins. And so you're right, Jim. I am a fame whore and I did use her, but we're happy. And so
screw you. All those two do.
Fern, you're so right.
Clap,
Bobby
clap,
should
clap.
absolutely say that and just be, that would be done with that rumor.
All those two do is refute what each other says to them.
Yeah.
If one of them took the power of the argument, like you said, and did that, like, it would be like, oh my God, like, it would be a whole different direction. But no, they won't feed into one another. I don't know.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. You like being called out.
And Bobby got all nervous. He's like, well, I was at Barnes & Noble and I, she just happened to be there.
I just happened to be at Barnes & Noble.
I don't believe that, please.
That was not a good argument.
Just own it.
Did anybody catch Jim happened to bring a highlighter with him?
I did. It was
Jim,
clipped to the top of his little folder there.
Why is a highlighter on the set? What are you going to take notes for? What are you outlining? If there's pictures that you're going to spread around, why is there a highlighter with you?
I thought it was hilarious that Dina's like, Andy, we're not allowed to have props. And Andy's, it's evidence. That with a total straight man comedy routine, it's evidence.
Oh, please.
Evidence is allowed.
I think that was the best part of the episode. As usual, Jim amuses me as much as he amuses himself.
Yeah. I caught the highlighter because they went back to, like, I think Andy asked him a question and you saw him organizing his papers in his folder. Such a dork.
And Amber's like, that was so great. Just put them away.
They were so proud of themselves.
We've done enough damage. Put those away.
Oh, I know. Amber was getting a kick out of that. Amber feeds right into his little games. I love it.
It was weird because I thought during the season she mostly would try to shut him down. Like, you're out of control. Stop it. And she was way into it. So I see how their marriage is, how they kind of come together on things because she loved him getting way too into it.
Yeah.
Then it came out
feed
that
off each other.
It was mentioned that Bobby was in on this fight, and they pointed out a really good moment where he said, "Oh, it already happened," when they came up to the stairs after the fight, which, I mean, I really believe that was totally staged. I think the twins were just being, hungry for the camera. They were new, fresh to the scene. They had a beef with Amber, and it was just a way to go. And I think that's what happened. I don't believe that was like, spur of the moment. I think it was totally planned.
I'm on the fence now.
Really?
That I heard them not agreeing to that at all. Because the whole time, when we had spoken to Jim, the whole time I thought, he's totally right. This was a setup. And that one line from Bobby proves it. But hearing the twins' version of what happened, and Bobby saying, well, why was I fighting with Nicole then? Like, what? If this was all staged and we were all in on it.
Because he wants camera time?
No, I thought he was genuinely mad at her.
Yeah, he was genuinely. I think that wasn't acting. I think he was mad at her. Because she said, like, didn't she do, like, a hand
He was
motion?
like, she's like, if you ever talk to her again, we're done.
And he said, don't go like this to me.
Yeah, and he immediately got mad.
I just don't believe anything those twins say.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
What was their explanation of the fight? That it just happened? Like, they didn't plan it? What did they say?
I can't remember. And then I remember her and Bobby saying, like, well, why would we have been in a fight about the hair pulling fight?
Yeah.
I mean, there were screen caps on Twitter of Dina cracking up because she knew what was going on. So, I mean,
See, Grant has highly researched this situation. Deeply
He's going to bring out a folder with his pictures of screenshots of Dina
Next
laughing.
week, Grant will have his highlighter ready.
Who knows? Oh man, I can't keep up.
It might not have been plans per se. Like, we're gonna pull her hair. I'm gonna pull her hair with my left hand, and then I don't think it was planned. But I think they planned to confront her with the cameras there, make it a scene.
They cut to the chase
100%.
so quick, though. It was almost like they knew, and they were like looking for that moment, and they rushed it, and they did it, and it happened, and it was done.
Yeah.
Where if you were like, I don't know, to me, if you wanted to call somebody out before you start getting physical, you need to nail in what you're about to say. You need to have a conversation, because grabbing someone's hair and pulling it isn't going to solve anything.
Yeah.
If you drove to this woman's house wanting to confront her, and then you waited days to go back for this party, I mean, you clearly have something you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if they walked up to the door that evening, and Amber answered the door, whether they just kept grab her out of the door, grab her hair. I mean, clearly they wanted to chat. So I don't know.
But they did kind of talk a little bit, didn't they? Say Nicole said, "You said I was a whore," and Melissa got nervous. She's like, "She didn't say that specifically." Wasn't there some conversation?
Well, Amber just walked in, and she was like, "All right, you two, let's go. We're going to talk about this outside." And then they just.
Well, there was a whole Amber went to lean in to kiss Teresa, I think, and Teresa gave her the cold shoulder, and then she's like, "Let's go talk about this right now." And so it was Amber walks up to the two twins, and she's like, "What?" And she's like, "You." And then Amber said, "You two, let's go."
Yeah.
So it was a quick series of events.
It was a quick series, and it was right when Amber got there. But I think they tried to talk about it a little bit.
Well, Amber asked to speak to them, not standing in that huge circle of people.
Right.
But the twins.
Well, yeah,
move.
it sounds like the twins would just have word vomit and were throwing up everything they wanted to say to her at once, and then the other one pulled her hair and was like, "Oh, that's it." That quick. I don't know. To me, it was just that's why I believe that was.
So you think planned. Bobby knew they're gonna beat her up?
I think they knew something was gonna go down. They expect a fight.
Yeah.
Well, Jim's claim was that when Bobby said, "Oh, let me give you a tour of the house," and the men kind of walked upstairs, that was the cue for the women to go in on Amber.
Oh God, I'm torn. I don't know.
That's funny. You're on one side, I'm on the other, and you're
I'm
on the
on the fence. I'm on the fence. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? So basically, Jim called out Dina for not being so very zen, which I was glad, because I don't find that girl to be zen at all.
Yeah.
I'm a Dina fan. I can't say anything bad about her.
How is she zen?
I like Dina as well, but I think she tries to be zen, but struggles tremendously.
She looks the part. She's got the Buddha over her shoulder.
Right.
She's wearing the jewelry, but I don't know if she acts the part.
Right. She says, "I don't want to be involved in drama," and then the way she talks about people, the way she describes some people, the way she the way she acts, I think she's got some work to do in the
Here's
Zen
what
department.
I'll say about Dina is that her spiritual thing is not about her being the nicest person on earth. It's just I just want peace in my own life is what I think her whole spiritual kick is about. Just peace and calmness in her own life. And she's at a certain age where I keep hearing once women are over 40 or once you're over 50 and how great life is because you don't care what people think and you don't care what you say to people. I think she's at that point in her 40s where she doesn't care what you're saying or thinking of her, and she's going to speak her own mind. So it's a combination of the two.
Mm-hmm. All right, I get that.
Yeah.
One last scuffle happened between Jim and Joe about calling Teresa a scumbag. I don't know. Who wants to grab this one?
Okay. So I just thought this was a classic Giudice Gorga moment. This is taking me back to the past two seasons because it was the whole argument over the way Jim talks to women that the entire cast was having.
Yeah.
And then Amber brought it up. Amber said, "Well, Joe, you call your own sister trash." And Jim goes, "Yeah, Joe," when they're sitting super close to each other, as close as Fern and I are.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, you know what? You call your sister a scumbag. You're the guy that called your sister a scumbag. And of course, rather that, he takes on the defensive hot-headed Italian guy way, saying "Don't you talk about my sister, don't." Basically "Oh, only I can call my own sister a scumbag. You can't repeat what I said." So it got messy from there. I don't know. Melissa was trying to jump in and calm down Jim. Amber seemed like she was trying to be, I don't know, up in Joe's face a little bit, kind of no, he's right. You called your sister a scumbag.
Wow.
Just got awkward.
And it was about how Jim speaks to women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the editing in this was annoying because
was so weird.
they wouldn't let an argument play out and
Right.
us see the whole argument,
right.
they kept just jumping to the next
was so
conversation with the
strange.
editing.
Yeah.
It's been a rough 2 episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well-
But I think the way Jim talks to anyone, male or female, is
wrong.
nasty and obnoxious.
Yeah.
And he thinks that people twit.
I
I thought that was
Yeah.
funny that he thinks that Bobby's, but so apparently he thinks Bobby's paying people to twit about him. I love it.
So Jim had a Teresa moment there, so he better never
Yeah.
say anything
Yeah,
about her.
yeah.
Nobody in New Jersey can speak English.
Oh Lord, I don't know. It's what a hot mess. I guess they'll be there next week, keeping the seats warm and keeping the arguments flowing back and forth.
The big finale.
Yeah.
In the next one, doesn't Jim say something about Dina's?
Yes, he says she has a
Yeah.
bad
Can we
word
say
for
it?
bottom.
Yeah, well, before we get to the predictions, let's do some quick news and gossip real quick.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So I believe there was an article out there from Radar Online that Teresa basically was outspending money before she was sentenced. She supposedly went and bought a $1,000 coat. This was in New Jersey, and then she supposedly went to get her eyebrows done or some type of something to do with her eyes. Something was like it was a cosmetic thing, and this was in preparation for the sentencing. And she thought that she was going to go and look, demure and beautiful because she had just thought she was going to get probation. So she was almost like not necessarily a celebratory thing, but like I'm going to walk out of this. I'm going to go to the reunion. I'm going to get kind of like fixed up. And we know what happened from there. Who knows? What else? Do we know any other information about this?
I don't, but I do know, just by my own common sense, that she has had a much plumper top lip this whole season. And especially when she got interviewed right after the sentencing and this reunion, which all happened within like a 4-day period, her lip is like recently plumped in it. And it's painful to look at.
I wonder if it's from like crying and like
I
biting
mean,
her lip.
can you imagine there?
I don't know, Fern. You're very kind, but I don't know if she's just because she's crying.
Like, how many millions from bankruptcy do they owe? They owe restitution to the court. Who knows how in debt these people are if they'll ever get out? And what money do you have that
I
you're
know.
plumbing your
Oh, my
lips with?
Don't you have enough on your
Honestly.
mind? Like, if I have a lot going on, I'm not going to the doctors. Never mind to go and get elective surgery.
That was her line the whole season. I'm not getting involved in this because there's too much going on.
Oh, yeah, like going to get the lip plumped.
Didn't she have something done to her eye this season? Like there was
Really?
one episode where her eye was like
I mean, that's what they were
messed up.
talking about.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's-
Oh,
well,
Teresa.
let's predict for the final part of the reunion.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'll go first this week because I always go last. All right. Unfortunately, after the past 2 episodes, I think the 3rd episode is going to go in the same pattern where we start out talking about Teresa for the first 20 minutes and then everybody else fights. And I think nothing's going to get solved. Jim and Bobby are still going to be mad at each other and hate each other. The twins and Amber still don't like each other. Nobody likes Amber. Melissa's not going to say a word. And
What about Dina?
Dina's not going to say anything either.
Yep.
Other than Jim's going to go after her, and that's going to be great. I'm sure they're just going to say a few nasty things, and the editor will cut out what really happened, and 10 seconds later, we'll be on to another topic.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Those are good predictions.
Yeah.
Jim says Dina has a big hiney, and Teresa cries that she's never coming back.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's probably going to be it. Yeah. Who knows? I hope that there's some big phony toast at the end that they always do. Well, all
With
of a s-
Fabellini.
We'll be toasting with that.
all of a sudden they're like all okay and the season's over and they're celebrating the season where they all call each other whores and home wreckers. So, who knows? Who knows?
Whores and home wreckers.
Wow.
That should be a title of an episode.
Well, apparently the final part is happening later this week, but you can catch us next Monday when we will be discussing part 3 at the same time, same place, right here on AfterBuzz TV. Ladies, where can we find you in the social media world?
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
And I am on Twitter and Facebook, FERNRONAY.
You can find me on Twitter at Grants__rants. That'll do it for us. We'll be back with part 3 next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.